Here we have an interesting map showing the global IQ scores in different countries. And if we look closer to Europe, we notice that there is like a 199, 102. Maybe the Italians have done it not so properly, so the measurements might be inaccurate, but nevertheless, when we look for Africa, we notice that we have numbers like 59, 67, 71 and that kind of stuff. So there definitely is more than just the measurement difference or problems on the sampling of the tests. We can also look Asia, and we notice that Japan, China, Hong Kong, they have higher numbers. And the purpose of this video is to talk about what this then means when we have these kind of differences between the countries. First of all, the average is just an average and every people are different, so basically the IQ is only a Gaussian distribution of intelligence, and the people are root mathematically only divided to the different levels according to the exact Gaussian probability. So this is the definition of the intelligence. So per definition, the IQ of 130 means that there is only 2% above this number. Also there is the lower end. There is only 2% less than IQ 70 in average. Of course, it can be seen from the world map that these tests were made for Europeans, and that's why the Asian numbers are different from the African numbers. It also should be noted that these tests, due to their nature, probably cannot really measure above the deviation of sigma 2, so which is exactly the 130 level. At least after sigma 3, any reasonable results aren't possible anymore. Here we can see the sigmas. Here is 100 is the average, 115, 130 and 145. All these lines are sigma 1, 2 and 3. If you are bright, you have upper 115. If you are less than 115, you are normal. If you are above 130, you are gifted. But this curve goes also the other side. And if we look that side, there is a diagnosis code for the intelligence level. So the ICD-10 F70 is for example below 70, IQ below 70, and if it's above 70, it's said to be borderline intellectual functioning, which also has a diagnosis code if you have an IQ level of 71 to 84. So basically IQ below 70 is without a doubt a level where in Western countries it's considered that you can get a retirement pay because nobody really expects you to be able to sort out your everyday living. With this information I want to name these groups otherwise, like just bright, gifted or extraordinary ability, because basically these are groups which are present in our society. So I think below 55 intensive support is needed, below 70 support is needed, below 85 unemployment is common, between 85 and 100 they are good workers but rather support workers, between 100 and 115 we can talk from skilled workers, above 115 but below 130 these people might be managers and business owners, above 130 but less than 145 this could be business developers for existing businesses, and above 145 are these geniuses who have new ideas and which are able to invent new businesses. With this idea I can take the whole data of the world, different countries, and put them on the same Excel sheet. I have added here the factor for the population which is below 15 years old, the IQ, the true population amount from 2019, and the rest is pretty much just mathematics, so we can solve the Gaussian distribution to different IQs and have an amount of people which has a higher than this IQ, and this brings up a quite big data sheet, but basically it's just a mathematical construction. I made 4 groups of the whole world. There is this Afro plus Arab, which is basically Africa and Near East, the Islamic countries. These I have combined because of the reason that their population has a high amount of children in them. Then I have made an Ecuador group, which is like Brazil, India, all these countries around in Ecuador, which seems to have a quite different shape of the children grown-up ratio, but still quite relatively lower IQ. Then it's Asia, it's like China, Japan, and all these high IQ countries with a lot of population, South Korea, this kind of stuff. And then it's Europe. In Europe I have also added Canada, USA, Australia, because of their heritage. They are originally coming from Europe. Here the IQs are corrected according to the part of the population which are younger than 20 years old, so that they are considered as a lower IQ citizens depending on their age. This graph gives the idea about the workforce quality in different regions of the world, how much there is supportive workers, skilled workers, managers or leaders. But from the previous graph it's difficult to understand what it really means when there is a certain amount of managers and a certain amount of support workers. Here is shown the same situation in a way that there is one manager and how many skilled workers or support workers each such a manager would then have as an employee. This graph shows the same situation, but now here is also added the expected unemployed people and the children. So here we can see that in Asia there is like 10 persons per manager, but in Africa or Arabian countries there are over 100. And further this can be thought that maybe it's enough if we look what is the proportion of skilled workers compared to support workers, unemployed and children. And here we see that there is 3 persons in Asia pro skilled workers, but 16 in Arab and Africa. Further, we can think that if the leaders are the truly driving force of the society, so here's the same graph produced so that there is one leader and the rest are according to this Gaussian distribution. So here we see that in Asia there is like 350 people per leader, per high IQ person. In Europe 1300, in equatorial countries almost 15,000, and in Africa and Arab world almost 60,000. So the difference from 300 to 60,000 is also very huge. Well, it also can be seen what would be the company organization in such a country. So here we can see how many how much workforce each leader would have. So one leader in Africa and Arabia would have been 14,000 workforce, when in Asia it's only, I cannot even read the small amount from this table,